Hey, this is Rustin with Metalholic Magazine, and with me today, Robin Staps of The Ocean. How are you doing, man?
Pretty good. Just got back from a week in Istanbul and still catching up with work. But yeah, we're all pretty excited about this upcoming tour, so things are good over here.
What took you over to Istanbul?
I was just taking a week off with my girlfriend to get away from music and everything it entails. So it was just like a holiday trip, basically. Also building some contacts for my label there, because I want to release some of my records there and also bring The Ocean over to Turkey at one point. So it was kind of like a mixed trip.
Nice. So, well, you guys have to be feeling pretty good right now, aside from the upcoming tour, which we'll talk about. Heliocentric and Anthropocentric were among 2010's best albums and were extremely well received.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about how it went down in Europe as well as in the States. It seems like when we put out Heliocentric at the beginning of the year, a lot of people were kind of like wondering which direction we were headed into now, because it was quite a departure, compared to the previous albums we've done. But now with Anthropocentric, it seems like most people have really understood where we want to go. And I heard that comment a lot of times, that people, like with Anthropocentric, people started really getting into Heliocentric, actually, which is cool, because two albums do belong together. We've, put a lot of attention to that all the time, and it seems that people realize that and appreciate it.
They're sort of like bookends. They sort of belong together. Why did you choose to release them separately instead of as one piece?
Because we did not want to overcharge people with material this time around. We had done that before. Our 2007 album, Precambrian, was a double album too, with almost 100 minutes of music on it, and we released that, like all together at once, basically. And I have the feeling that people's attention span these days is rather short, and that we wouldn't really be doing our own songs justice by releasing them all together at once again. Because with Precambrian, what happened is that a lot of people just checked out the first disc or only checked out the second disc, and it was too much for a lot of people. So we didn't want to do that again. We wanted to give those songs the time and the attention that they deserve, and the best option seemed to be to release them separately. And also, it's like with all the concepts behind the two albums, there is so much stuff to tackle with the lyrics and the ideas behind it, that it would have been simply too much to squeeze onto one album. So we decided to divide it up and hopefully, stay in people's minds for a while by releasing them over the course of 6 months. So I think it was a good idea, looking back at it now, to do it that way.
Well, for those less familiar with the band, can you tell us a little bit about the concept behind the two records?
The first album is called Heliocentric, and the second album is called Anthropocentric, and both albums are basically a critique of Christianity from different philosophical and personal standpoints. Heliocentric is going about it in a fairly chronological way, starting with the song Firmament, which has original text from the Bible, then moving on to Copernicus and Galilei and their discoveries that Earth is actually not at the center of the universe, and the effects that had on Christian belief at the time being. And then we finish with Charles Darwin and his theory of evolution, apparently, and Richard Dawkins, who's the spearhead of modern atheism. It was the heliocentric album, and then on Anthropocentric, the focus is more on creationists and other Christian fundamentalists who still believe that, the dinosaurs never existed and Earth is 5,000 years old and all that bullshit. So it's all about Christianity and questions of belief, and every song has its own agenda and its own way of going about it. But basically everything is about the same topic, and both albums are dealing with the same issues.
Right. I think Anthropocentric sort of had that Brothers Karamazov thing going on there.
That's right. Yeah, 3 of the tracks on Anthropocentric have the brothers Karamazov, and their title basically, or The Grand Inquisitor, which is a chapter in that novel by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And it's all making reference to that chapter in that novel, which is a big discussion between an atheist and a monk, two brothers that have very different views on God and the world. And we've made reference to that basically throughout the whole album, not just in those 3 titles, in those 3 tracks, but in all the lyrics. There's quotes from the book that are going back to that, and it's all basically about the question of theodicy. Christians want God to have 3 attributes. They want him to be benign and benevolent, basically, on one hand, and then also almighty and all-knowing. And there is an essential contradiction involved if you regard the fact that there is evil in the world, because if he was omnipotent, then there would be no evil in the world. And the two brothers are discussing that in that chapter in the book, and that's what the album and the lyrics of the album always go back to, that whole discussion.
Before this album, you guys had to do a search for a new vocalist.
We have a new vocalist, Mr. Luigi Rossetti, to be pronounced with a thick Italian accent, although he's actually from Switzerland. And we found him in a small Swiss mountain village and decided to take him with us, basically. It was a long search. We spent the greater part of 2009 looking for someone to replace our old vocalist, Mike Pilot, from the UK, who parted ways with us because he wanted to focus more on his studio back home and spend more time with his girlfriend, not so much time on the tour bus. So we knew we had to look for a new vocalist after the Opus tour we've done here in Europe in 2008. And then we spent about 9 months looking for that someone. It was really, really difficult because we knew we wanted to have someone who could do pretty much any vocal style that you can think of, from, you know, like really clean singing to all different kinds of screamed and heavy vocals. And that's really difficult to find. And we had about 100 people sending in contributions and, you know, people who recorded demo tracks or whatever over some of our songs. And in the end, Luigi was just the one where we all just looked at each other and immediately knew, like, this is exactly what we had been looking for. And then we invited him to the studio and did a couple of tries with him, and also in a creative way was working out really, really great, and on a personal level as well. So it was very quickly decided then once we had found that guy, but it took a long time, and we were at the moment a lot of times when we were just about to give up, and, you know, when we were even considering continuing as an instrumental band because it just seemed so hard to find the right person. But I'm very, very happy with that now, and that's going to be his first tour in the U.S. too. The last time we were over there, we had two different vocalists with us. That was Mike and our other former vocalist, Nico Webers, and both of them are not in the band now anymore. So those people who saw us on the last tour will see a bit of a different lineup this time around.
Well, and nice segue, perfect, thank you. You guys are coming to the U.S. this spring with Between the Buried and Me. And the Ocean is known for its visually appealing live shows. Obviously, given the nature of this tour, though, it'll probably be more minimalist in approach, I would imagine.
Well, we can't really do on this tour what we usually do here because we can't ship all of our lighting gear over to the U.S. That would just not work out from a logistical, perspective, because we have so much gear and it's all like custom-built shit that we can't just ship over there. It's really heavy and big. And also we're supporting, so we have to go with this tour and, play a support show, so we can't do everything we do here. But still, we will have our video projections, and we will do something special that sets us apart from the other bands on the bill. And I don't really want to say too much about it now, because we don't really know all the exact details about this tour yet, and a lot of it has to be discussed with the tour manager on a day-to-day level. But we're trying to do as much as we can to get it across as we do get it across over here.
Right. Well, and obviously you also can't bring the orchestra over with you either, so are you having to cater which songs are going to be in the set list based on sort of a more minimalist approach, just the guys?
We haven't really decided yet, but obviously we're going to focus on the heliocentric and the anthropocentric material mainly, but I do want to make sure that we play at least one Precambrian song every night as well, because people are always asking to hear songs from that album. It's mainly like really long, epic pieces on that album, so there probably won't be more than one song in the set. But we're basically capable of playing an hour and a half, and because we have a European headlining tour right after the end of that U.S. tour, so we have to rehearse for that as well. So we could technically play like three completely different sets in 3 following nights. So the people that do want to come see us more than one night, they may get to see a completely different set, actually. And also I have to say that there is most likely going to be 4 extra headlining shows right before the beginning of the Between the Buried and Me tour. Nothing has been confirmed or booked yet, but it's going to be April 11, 12, 13, and 14th, and it's probably going to be somewhere on the East Coast because we're flying into Washington, D.C. There's no Between the Buried and Me show in that area, so there's probably going to be 1 or 2 shows in that area, and then the other 2 I don't really know yet. But yeah, on those shows, obviously, we're going to try to play like an hour and a half set and, do like what we usually do when we play live, and that's when we have the first support slot of the night.
Right. Now, I know it's going to be difficult because you're not headlining most of this tour. support act. But any chance you guys are going to be pulling out anything from Fog Diver?
I don't think we will, honestly. I would really like to, but it's impossible to play. Like, we're going to get 35 minutes playing time, ideally, and
right.
It's just impossible to represent the band with everything it entails within 35 minutes. We need an hour and a half to do that. And I really like playing some of the Fog Diver songs live. We have done that recently, and also some Fluxion songs. But like I said, we're going to have to focus on those albums that most people will know over there. That's going to be heliocentric, anthropocentric, and Precambrian. And then we're possibly going to play an Aeolian song as well. That's most likely going to be City in the Sea. That's a song that that always goes down really well live. So we may play that every now and then. But I don't want to promise it right now. It's just impossible. Like, people have to understand that we can play, what we would really like to play within 30 or 35 minutes. Most of the Precambrian songs are already 8-9 minutes long by themselves. So with a 30-minute set, we can play 4 songs. And what are you going to do with that, So,
well, speaking of that, you guys, I think you've already filmed it. You filmed an upcoming DVD. Tell us a little bit about that and what we can expect and when it may be out.
We don't know exactly when it's going to be out yet. It's not going to be out this year, I can tell you that much. We're still in the process of collecting material. We are going to have a videographer with us on this upcoming U.S. tour who's going to film behind the scenes and also a couple of live shows. And we have recorded a full show here. It was the record release show for Heliocentric in Switzerland that we played on March 26, 2010. We recorded that with 10 cameras and a multi-track audio recording as well. And then we just had this kind of really weird gig here in Berlin where we played at the Museum for Musical Instruments. It was a one-off gig. They had an exhibition about the electric guitar, and for some reason they wanted us to play on a Saturday night. And it was a really strange show. We played amidst a collection of medieval 16th century cembalos, and we had a piano player with us that was playing on one of these instruments. We had an extra cello player with us, and people were mainly seated for the most part of the show. So it was very different and very weird, but in a cool way. So we decided to film that as well. So that's going to be on there. And then there's probably going to be a third show on there. So it's going to be most likely 3 full live shows with different songs too. And then lots of behind the scenes stuff, and also all the, for example, the song comments that I've done that you can already find on YouTube on the heliocentric songs. I'm going to do that for anthropocentric as well. So we want something that really, represents this band where we stand right now, 2011, and that's difficult to do even with a double DVD, but we're trying our best to make something interesting and different from what you usually get.
Outside of the obvious, your music, what else do you have a passion for?
I love traveling. I've been traveling a lot over the last 10 years probably. I take every chance I get to get away from it all, just pack my backpack and go to a part of the world where I've never been before. And that's something I just really like to do, and that I need to kind of recapture my energies and my focus. And when you're busy with music all year, then it's really vital for me to get out for a month or two and forget about everything, and then come back with new power and the will to get back into that again. So I like to do that. I just like to pack my backpack and fly to Tanzania or some exotic country and see what happens. Other than that, I have a lot of passion for for a lot of things. I'm really into art, not just musical art, but also movies and visual arts. And I guess I'm interested in a lot of things, even cooking, women, of course.
Well, you just got back from Istanbul. What was Istanbul like, and where would you like to travel to next that you haven't gone yet?
Well, I have a couple of things on my agenda. I really want to do a trip through northeastern Africa, basically the coast of the Red Sea. Maybe not Egypt now; it's the wrong time to go. But countries like Eritrea and then over to Yemen. That is an area where I would really, really like to go. And last year I've been to Tanzania, which was incredible, and I really want to go back to that part of Africa too. And I really want to go to Mozambique, on the southeast coast of Africa. For some reason, my focus is on Africa now. I've been to Asia and to South America for the past 10 years. So, recently, I just got really fascinated by Africa, and I think that's where it's going to take me the next 2 or 3 times I'm going to be out traveling.
Awesome. Robin Staps from the Ocean. Have a great day, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the tour.
Thanks for the interview, man.